when someone in independent media like myself says things like this, people are shocked to hear it. People think, how could you say such an insane thing? Because they don't know. They don't know the truth. That's the real problem here. A lot of people don't know the truth. A lot of people also have, their own personal biases in this issue, and it hurts their feelings to hear something so different than what they previously thought. It wouldn't surprise me. Here, look, it wouldn't surprise me if Israel gave or gives support to the same Sunni militias that the U.S. has been fighting all these years, being that the Sunni groups in Syria, Iraq share a common enemy with Israel. Iran. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see much of a quid pro quo when it comes to the U.S. sending all that money. Yep. Democrats privately disgusted by Hasan Piker, but are afraid to publicly criticize him. House Dem claims. Dude, that's so funny. They're privately disgusted. Let me tell you what they're privately saying, okay? I can tell you what they're privately saying. They're privately saying, thank God there's someone out there who's saying the things that some of us are maybe a little afraid to say. Or at least that's the attitude I got from the many people I spoke to that weren't all like superstar celebrities or anything. They're just like regular folks as well. I had $10 in my bank and resub. Never say I don't love you. Dude, that's crazy. You shouldn't do that if you have $10 remaining. Shani DeVito, thank you for the 5 gifted. Ian Tattoos, thank you for the 5 gifted as well. God damn. He's here. Missed you. I can't face a Monday without you on a Sunday. Yeah, if you got the Sunday scaries, let me make it scarier for you. Dude, what's up with my haters, dude? This is literally, like, this is when random YouTube slop tubers would say, Hasan has like blackmail on the Twitch CEO or something. And then like Josh Gottheimer is a literal congressional representative in the Democratic Party in New Jersey. Okay. And he's saying that like Democrats are terrified of me, but they can't say it out loud, but they all they're disgusted by me. What the? I know it's Mother's Day, but you didn't have to go live for me. Yes, I went live for all the mothers on this beautiful day, on this glorious day. What an insane thing. I mean, look, I'm honored. I'm honored to be just even mentioned, really. I think you are, perhaps you are creating an environment of fear for yourself. Not to lower the temperature here, but, Gottheimer, Israel first, Dem claims Dems are scared of me, but can't say it publicly in the New York Times. Sunday Fun Day, Mom's Day. Get in www.twitch.tv/Hasanabi. Cogman 10. God damn, thank you for the 25, get the subs. And Extra Rice, thank you for the 5, give the subs. Stop lying about Fun Day. I think they're getting desperate and don't want you to collab with politicians. Yeah, I find it really funny. I don't know why they think I got this level of motion. Some of the top comments I get when I go out in public is from people who are, famous, ordinary folks alike, is always like, thank you for putting on the good fight. The Democrats are literally not doing what needs to be done. I mean, this was like the comments in general, people checking in, being like, I hope you're okay. I know it's like hectic. I know it's crazy. But then outside of that, the question I keep getting is like, are you running? Are you going to run? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not interested in running for office. I'm not interested in running for office at all in any way, shape, or form. I don't know why the media is presenting it as though I am for some weird reason, but I'm not. Anyway, that's your sign to run. We don't care if you want to. No, that's not my sign to run. It's not going to happen, okay? But oh God, this thing is so annoying. You are more interested to run than to game? Okay, fair. But that doesn't mean that I'm interested in running. That just means that I'm never gaming. I'm not interested in gaming. That's all that means. I need you to understand. They're calling you president of the blast off. I already blasted off with that. Okay, I already did. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Let the people know we're live. We're freaking alive. Why should I believe what a politician says? Yeah, I'm not a politician, so I agree. Chatters, politicians get their lives destroyed? No, that's not the fear. My life has already been severely under attack. My argument is about how much time. My argument is that it always revolves around how much time and how much effort I can place. In order to min-max, I find it I find it much more. Now, this, of course, ironically, is a false conflation between the Egyptian state and the Turkish state and Saudi Arabia, many of which have consistently engaged in atrocious behavior and even war crimes, sometimes against civilians. As a matter of fact, specifically, I'm talking about Turkey against the Kurds, for example, right? Having said that, none of them reach the standard of what Israel has done to the Palestinians for 80 plus years. It's ridiculous. The closest analog to a man-made famine would be Saudi Arabia, which ironically enough was exactly what Bernie Sanders was trying to stop. So this whataboutism doesn't even work. The Democratic condemnation piled on Israel's government is overwhelming in comparison to other allies. It's also louder than Democrats' condemnation of Iran's regime. Hey, guess what, dude? You know the actual condemnations here? Those who are critics of Israel. When Bernie Sanders comes out and says, we must stop weapons sales to Saudi Arabia, they're doing a famine in Yemen, there aren't 700 articles from the anti-Islamophobia League or whatever saying, wow, Bernie Sanders Islamophobic much for trying to stop Saudi Arabia in Yemen. It's also louder than Democrats' condemnation of Iran's regime for the slaughter of thousands of Iranians. Oh my God. Buddy, do we fund the IRGC? What are you talking about? Do we fund the IRGC? Like, are we funding the Islamic Republic in any way, shape, or form? There is no apt comparison here. There's no analog here because Israel is a unique country in its allegiance. It's unique in many other respects as well. It's a 21st century nation with, I'm sorry to say, 14th century principles, okay? Like, when it comes to siege warfare, when it comes to ethnic cleansing, that is one of the issues. It's using 24th century weapons, oftentimes with paid for with our tax dollars. Okay, it has a uniquely pervasive impact on American domestic politics, on American foreign policy. There is no comparison between Israel and any of our other allies. There is no world where someone. There's no world. Wait, hold on. Kopyachin! Okay, sorry. 24th century BC. Did I say 24th century? I said 21st century. Anyway, Israel has been decried by some leading Democrats as an apartheid state, but I haven't heard any of them claim apartheid when it comes to how women and LGBTQ are treated across the Middle East. Oh my God, this guy's running the maximum 2020, like 2021 route. Like, oh, well, excuse me, what about the apartheid for gays? Okay, it's so funny. Oh, you don't like Israel? Well, guess what? Israel's gay. Okay, well, they're doing a gay apartheid. They're doing apartheid, but also in a gay way. Who gives a apartheid is still apartheid. Hasn't updated the Hasbara talking points since like 2017. Who gives a shit, dude? Oh, I didn't realize. I'm sorry. Oh, so I guess the apartheid is fine then. Yeah. Oh, no, it's okay because gay people are doing the. Who gives a. What's wrong with you? Ironic because the opposition only now in Israel only now is in favor of openly allowing gay marriage to take place on Israeli soil. But that's besides the point. We're not even going to get into that. That doesn't even matter. Even if they were literally everyone was a homosexual in the Israeli government, that still wouldn't make the apartheid justifiable, and it still certainly wouldn't make it justifiable. Okay, one Democrat, a very likely presidential hopeful, recently argued that Israel can afford its own security and that Israelis don't need America's financial aid. Even this is, by the way, a very likely presidential hopeful is Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel's parents, or Rahm Emanuel's father, was in the, if I'm not mistaken, the Irgun militia. Okay, you're talking about a guy who literally did terrorism to build the Israeli state, and you're mad. You're mad at Rahm Emanuel. You've lost your damn mind, dude. If you're finding yourself at odds with Rahm Emanuel, claiming that he's too far out there with the way he's talking about Israel, you've lost the damn plot. Yeah, Rahm Emanuel's daddy was in a Jewish terrorist organization. Like, literally, what the fuck are we talking about? Anyway. What are we talking about, man? You're psycho. Even though Israel has been a stalwart partner in America's fight against Hamas, Hezbollah. Yeah, America's fight against Hamas. Why is America fighting Hamas? What are you talking about? Why does Hamas exist? Same with Hezbollah. Why does Hezbollah exist? Oh, that's right. It's because Israel exists, okay? It's because Israel doesn't just exist as a normal country, but a country that actually dominates every other neighboring country and constantly foments ethnic tensions and is actively trying to occupy every other country in the region and dominating the lives of the population of Palestinians, which of course invites militant resistance. America's fight against Hamas is so funny. Yeah, dude, we really need to fight Hamas. Wouldn't a logical extension of that point of view mean that we should also pull our military installations out of well-resourced allies like Germany, Japan, and Kuwait? Wait, what? I mean, I'm in favor of that too. I don't know what this guy's talking about. Democrats have justly denounced the Trump administration for its broadsides, in some cases threats towards some of America's closest allies, but many increasingly accuse, don't threaten me with a good time, Josh. As a matter of fact, I'm fairly certain if you were to ask Americans, like, should we have 800 military bases all around the world or should we have free healthcare? I don't think Americans would say, oh, no, let's continue the 800 military bases. They'd be like, no, let's have healthcare, please. Yeah, I hate all the Hamas I run into at the grocery store. Yeah, it's terrifying. Hamas everywhere. Thank God. But many increasingly accuse or join feverish denunciations of Israel, our longstanding democratic and strategic ally. When we're talking about which allies support, which communities we defend, our principles shouldn't shift. When Mr. Trump lashes out at Pope Leo in ways that millions of Catholics rightly, deeply find offensive, many of us look the other way. Are you comparing the president shitting on the Pope to a Twitch streamer shitting on Israel? Like, worthy criticism that Israel absolutely deserves? Israel deserves far more than just my condemnations and criticisms, by the way. That's insane. You are an insane person, okay? You are out of your mind, which is why they're cooking your ass in the comment section of the goddamn New York Times opinion editorial page, even though these are people that are supposed to be aligned with you. You're a Democratic representative. Oh my God, behave. Have some decency. God damn, you are such a servile little piggy for the state of Israel. Oh my God, you're oinking. You're oinking. These are exactly the types of hit pieces that I personally love, okay? Guys that are so horny to defend Israel that they can't even write like a comprehensive piece that makes it seem like I'm a bad guy. They just give the game away 3 paragraphs deep because they're so like primarily invested in defending little old Israel, my emotional support apartheid state. Why can't they have a little bit of, that's it. That's the problem. They can't even stick to like basics to be like, Hasan is dangerous and scary. Even then, most people will be like, why am I supposed to care about this? You're a congressperson. Fight against fascism that's happening in the country, please, you idiot. That's what Hasan is trying to do. You should do that as well. But then when you do these kinds of idiotic comparisons between the president of the United States of America shitting on the Catholic Church, which is objectively insane, to a Twitch streamer with far less power, but also a Twitch streamer that is making the correct point about Israel that many Americans now actually agree with, you look like an idiot. You look like a dumbass. This doesn't end up hurting me. This actually is promotion for me. This ends up hurting you. Okay? We're also in a very unique media environment where controversial statements don't really matter anymore. Donald Trump is the president. You can't just be like, oh, this guy's controversial. Everyone should stay away. No, people actually go, wait a minute, what's controversial about it? Let me take a look. Or they go, who gives a that he's controversial? Trump is the president.
I'm young. I'm hot.
Anyway. When Trump lashed out at Pope Leo, when a Republican congressman tries to dehumanize Muslims, we should all speak up. When Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson use hateful rhetoric, they should be rebuked. The same should go for Hasan Piker. Everyone has a right to express his or her views, however repugnant those views may be, but Democratic leaders have that same right and a duty to challenge them. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I would love for any Democrat to challenge me on my views of Israel. I would love Josh Gottheimer to challenge me on my views of Israel. I will, anytime, any place, Josh, I'm here for you. Oh my God, I'll fly out to wherever the f you are, and I will have a long, uninterrupted 2-hour debate with you on the issue of Israel. Oh my God. Oh, make my day, you bitch. Okay? Make my goddamn day. Go ahead. Let's have a conversation. You can rebuke me, not behind these bullshit ass New York Times op-ed pieces where even the readership doesn't agree with you and dunk on you. But I would love, yes, I would not fly to Tel Aviv. I'm not trying to die. Okay, I'm talking about American soil with an American congressperson that seemingly is more invested in defending Israel's feelings than doing right by their constituents. This is at the heart of the problem with the Democrats. This is why we despise these sorts of Democrats. And this is precisely the reason why some of these Democrats are apparently disgusted. Yeah, they're disgusted with democracy. They're disgusted with you. They have tremendous disdain for theoretical democracy, for applying the principles of theoretical democracy to their job. They are elected representatives. They are supposed to represent us. They're not supposed to represent corporate interests. They're not supposed to represent foreign countries. They're supposed to represent Americans, okay? That's it. And they are terrified of that prospect. And they're very worried that now there are people who are saying, what the f are you doing? Go fight against Donald Trump. Go sever ties and hold this apartheid state accountable. Why has Israel taken $300+ billion of American money to maintain an apartheid state, to dominate the lives of random civilians, innocent civilians, thousands of miles away. And then on top of that, they demand more. And on top of that, if you call that relationship out, you get endlessly criticized. You get called a goddamn anti-Semite over and over again. You are told to shut the fuck up. The demands are that you no longer have a way to generate income, that you should actually lose your platform. How about you lose your platform, bitch? In a just world, you would literally be tried. Okay? You would be tried for defending fascism like this. That is what would happen in a just world. Holy shit. Inshallah, one day. Maybe. There should be one response to those who express hatred towards any American. Condemnation. Hate is hate. It doesn't get a pass because it comes from your side of the aisle. 62 comments. Everyone's cooking his ass. Oh. No one. This whataboutism gets tiresome. You can't criticize it unless you also condemn every other bad actor on earth. So let's take it on its own terms. We're not generic moral spectators rating every country on a human rights scorecard. Israel's in a different category. We don't just sell them weapons, we fund them. Israel's the largest cumulative recipient of U.S. military aid since World War II, backed by a standing memorandum of understanding, supplemental appropriations, and diplomatic cover at the UN. Oh my God, that no other country, including Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Turkey, receives. Criticism scales with complicity, and our complicity here is uniquely deep. You can object to arms sales to Riyadh and still recognize that the U.S.-Israel relationship is something much deeper. The war in Gaza has gone well beyond any reasonable military objective, as evidenced by Lloyd Austin's own early criticism of Israel's tactics, and into what looks to many observers like ethnic cleansing. Americans across the political spectrum are sickened by it and refuse to be complicit on principle. Change is coming precisely because no change is happening in the Israeli-led conduct of this and other conflicts. Framing Senators' votes as a cynical concession to a vocal segment dismiss the substance of what they're actually responding to. And let's be clear, this isn't anti-Semitism, it's opposition to Israeli war policy. Those two aren't the same, and conflating them is deflection. Oh my God. I'd like to point out that a rhetorical trick that as both a Jewish person and someone who engages in debates on this topic quite frequently, I find quite frustrating. Mr. Gottheimer frames this as a discussion of anti-Semitism and then mostly talks about criticism of Israel. This frames them as the same thing without having to say it explicitly, when in reality they are not. Doing so, in my opinion, gives cover for real and more overt anti-Semitism to flourish because it cheapens the definition of anti-Semitism as simply criticism of Israel and not hate of and prejudice towards Jewish people. This is why I have maintained a principled stance, regardless of how much people to my left sometimes, and certainly everyone to my right, who are anti-Israel, yell at me, where they say, whoa, why do so many Jews love Israel? Why don't you just say it out loud? Why don't you say it out loud? Because fundamentally, it's not true. Okay? Fundamentally, it's not true. American Jews are American, okay? They're American. They live here. Some of them might be unbelievably sympathetic to the goals of the nation state of Israel, like Josh Gottheimer is, okay? But that's a separate thing. And perhaps there's even a financial imperative for Josh to maintain this level of loyalty to the nation state of Israel and become this much of a willing servant of the state of Israel. Do you understand? It's not only unproductive, but also objectively untrue. People's positions can change. And also, no group of people are a monolith, okay? American Jews are certainly not a monolith. If they had a monolithic understanding of Israel, then pro-Israeli organizations wouldn't spend billions of dollars on U.S. soil trying to literally brainwash young American Jews from early on to maintain this undying loyalty to the state of Israel, which still ends up failing. If you look at the goddamn polling on this, it clearly doesn't even work. There is a generational divide amongst American Jews that are under the age of 50 versus American Jews that are over the age of 50 as well, okay? At this point, New York Times needs to let you do an op-ed. New York Times has a policy of not letting anyone write an op-ed that's against another person that has written an op-ed. Like, I can't directly call out Josh Gottheimer's op-ed piece by writing in the New York Times about it. Not a single mention in this article about Israel's actions in the last 2 years as context. No one is putting up with this. Look at this. Being critical of holding the Israeli government accountable for its actions is not anti-Semitism. It's a distinction and nuance that this author and so many others ignore. One's negative feelings and words for Netanyahu and his cabinet are no more anti-Semitism than are the same for Trump and his cabinet. Exactly. Like, when I talk about America, when I talk about what America has become, when I talk about American history, like, I'm not saying every single fucking American is a card-carrying fascist, okay? And Americans understand that because we're Americans, okay? We are experiencing it and we understand it. But when it comes to Israel, everyone's like, whoa, 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 that's the Jewish state. How dare you? It's fucking ridiculous. It's a rhetorical trick that no longer works either. So it's unbelievably stupid that there are still those who maintain this stance, thinking that this will somehow successfully cause people to change their perception. It's not working, and yet you still see people trying it. It's very frustrating. It's very stupid. But I would say at this point, it's unbelievably unproductive for those who still actively write these kinds of things, because it doesn't accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish. It doesn't disparage someone like myself. It ends up disparaging the author, because everyone and their mothers can see exactly what's going on. Okay? More and more people wake up to that reality every single fucking day. Do you understand? I never, ever in a million years would have thought that a Democratic congressperson from the state of New Jersey would write an op-ed in the New York Times and the readership would unilaterally oppose, or overwhelmingly oppose, the sentiment that they are trying to get across there, and actually end up defending someone like myself for my criticisms of the state of fucking Israel. There are lots of double standards in this world, and Josh Gottheimer embodies the one which has for years dominated American political discourse on the Middle East, namely shocking indifference to the life of any person, including children, who isn't an Israeli Jew, and with it, shocking indifference to the war crimes. Where the fuck did the article go? Oh, here it is. Shocking indifference to the war crimes and crimes against humanity carried out by Israel, for which the U.S. is uniquely culpable, as it both finances and enables those crimes. Mr. Gottheimer has taken over $1 million from pro-Israel lobbyists in just the last few years, and it was money well spent. Even though Israel has been a stalwart partner in America's fight against Hamas, Hezbollah, and other terrorist organizations, can the author explain to me exactly why exactly we are fighting Hamas and Hezbollah while they're at it? Perhaps they can explain why those organizations exist in the first place. But the apartheid, look, even this guy, Ben, from Munich, says there are real problems from Munich, okay? So you know they're not of sound mind here, okay? They're German. There are real problems with the anti-Semitism on the left in this country. And the apologists for Hamas, or the people who denounce Israel while completely ignoring the UAE, which has tons of US investment and is actively supporting the murderous RSF in Sudan, which, by the way, we don't, okay? And the fascist colonialist description of Israel is absurd. It's not. The Jewish people who survived the horrors of World War II need their own state. The plight of the Rohingya in Myanmar and the Armenians in Azerbaijan. Which country? Which country funded the ethnic cleansing of the Armenians? Oh, right, yeah. That was Israel too. Which country also personally is participating in the ethnic cleansing of Armenians that live in Palestine? Oh, that's right. That's Israel. Anyway, this guy doesn't know enough, but it's fine. And the Uyghurs in China could show us how worthless the promises of autonomy for the ethnic minorities are. But the apartheid part is undeniably true. You got guys like this. You got guys like this saying apartheid part is undeniably true. As a Jewish person with family in Israel, I don't think the criticism of Israel is necessarily anti-Semitic, though it unfortunately is often couched in those tropes. That is the guy that is 100% supposed to be on board with Josh Gottheimer. Okay? And even that guy's like, nope, you've gone a bridge too far. Israel is an apartheid. Yeah, look, this is what I mean when I say this criticism has stuck. What is this? In Germany, we say, I don't know what this means. The difference between Hamas and Hezbollah in Israel is the Israeli military kills hundreds of innocent civilians for every one killed by Hamas and Hezbollah, and does so with our funding and our weaponry. Thank you. See, people get it. This is why I think it's important to be brave sometimes, okay? And to stand by your principles and not be afraid to ruffle some fucking feathers. That is why I stood 10 toes down over and over again on some of the things that I've said that have caused tremendous ire and have caused people to yell at me and call me a fucking terrorist, demand my deplatforming for years and years and years, okay? Because it was the truth. So in context, who are the real terrorists? I don't expect the author of this article to engage with that. I'm tired of reading these endless stream of slop claiming that Israel is somehow a separate entity vis-a-vis the United States. Anti-Semitism is wrong. The Holocaust did happen. Killings of 1,200 Israelis on October 7 was wrong. Those are facts. For decades, Israelis in the West Bank have been attacking Palestinians there without cause. Like, do you see this? Look at this. Look at this. These are the people that Josh Gottheimer thinks he can still reach. And even they are like, no, we're done. We're done. There is a spectrum of different levels of compassion and different levels of wanting to defend the state of Israel in the New York Times op-ed commentary section, okay? And yet all of them are universally saying we oppose Israel's actions, and calling out Israel's actions is not fucking anti-Semitism. These are not card-carrying, anti-imperialist, Marxist, Leninist, Maoist, third worldists. These are not people who believe in the immortal science of Marxist Leninist Jewish principles. Okay, these are people who are American citizens who have believed the idea of Zionism, the false ideology that Zionism has presented itself as. These are people who have probably spent a long life believing that Israel is an unbelievably reliable ally to the United States of America, who have said enough is enough. That's it. The author writes, even though Israel has been a stalwart partner in America's fight against Hamas, Hezbollah, and other terrorist organizations, as far as I understand, America isn't fighting against Hamas or Hezbollah in any significant way. Never really have. As for the other terrorist organizations, Israel didn't help the U.S. fight against ISIS or Al-Qaeda. Yeah, ironically, you know who did? Iran. Okay? Again, gonna ruffle some feathers here. Iran has been a more reliable partner in combating Al-Qaeda and ISIS than Israel has. Okay? It's true. It's objectively true. You will never hear it in mainstream media. No one will ever say it. As a matter of fact, when someone in independent media like myself says things like this, people are shocked to hear it. People think, how could you say such an insane thing? Because they don't know. They don't know the truth. That's the real problem here. A lot of people don't know the truth. A lot of people also have, their own personal biases in this issue, and it hurts their feelings to hear something so different than what they previously thought. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if Israel gave or gives support to the same Sunni militias that the U.S. has been fighting all these years, being that the Sunni groups in Syria, Iraq share a common enemy with Israel. Iran. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see much of a quid pro quo when it comes to the U.S. sending all that gun money to Israel. Yep. The Democratic condemnation piled on Israel's government is overwhelming in comparison to our allies. Perhaps that's because other allies have not shelled or bombarded the population of a densely populated area half the size of the city of Toronto over 2 years, kept the population of the West Bank under military occupation for 68 years, allowed and then encouraged the building of 347 Israeli settlements in the West Bank, where over 500,000 settlers now live, tolerated and at times abetted violent settler raids on Palestinian villages of the West Bank, declared, i.e. present government, that Palestinians do not have a right to self-determination and that Israel will never allow the existence of a Palestinian state. Maybe those are some of the reasons why criticism of Israel is harsher than criticism of other allies of the United States. People are glazing Walter's take. Oh yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, Walter did pop off. He looks so much more comfortable without the suit. This is unbelievably comfy, actually. This is like pajamas. I'm not even kidding. Like, everything I'm wearing is super silky smooth. Surely Representative Josh Gottheimer, author of this fresh, bold new take, would agree that the congressional Dem who took the most money from right-wing Nazi art collector Harlan Crow is a textbook example of this problem, with the slight wrinkle that said Dem is Josh Gottheimer. That's awesome. Sadly, Representative Josh Gottheimer does not respond well to being asked about this interesting contradiction. I did not know that, by the way. Right-wing Nazi art collector Harlan Crow? Oh my God. That's so funny. That's awesome. Bro thinks he's Indiana Jones? Yeah. Harlan Crow? Yeah. Except he's not punching the Nazis. Meet Harlan Crow's favorite Democrats: Josh Gottheimer, Joe Manchin, Henry Cuellar, Seth Moulton. Wow. Some of my faves. Okay. Some of my faves. Oh, Kirsten Sinema, Jim Costa, Jared Golden, Dean Phillips. Oh, that's Dean Phillips. That's not Seth Moulton. Sorry. Fuck. Apologies. They're both unbelievably forgettable. Lisa Slotkin, Abigail Spanberger. Wow. Problem Solvers Caucus Democrats. Wow. Some of my least favorite Democrats in office. Some of Harlan Crow, the right-wing juicer, major donor to and bestie of right-wing reactionary Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. That Harlan Crow. Perhaps those are the other Democrats that Buttheimer has talked to, okay, who are repulsed by my statements on Israel. Well, I say your statements on Israel are far more repulsive than mine.